Like, why does no one tell me that? Well, today's not like one of those videos where we're going to be trying on a bunch of new products because I still haven't received my Pat McGrath holiday collection and it looks glorious. But alas, we will wait. So some of my favorite creators, like, you know, Patty Alonso and Tanaya and some of the others, you know, even like Morgan Turner, the big one. They do these videos every so often where they outline like their favorite products in different categories, and they like narrow it down to like 3. And I don't know how they do that because I just tried to come up with a list, and it's like Sophie's Choice, except this is important because it's my makeup products. And so I just thought today we'll look at some of my favorite recommendations, and you know, they span drugstore to luxury and everything in between. So let's begin with moisturizers. My go-to moisturizer for under makeup application is the Rephr. The black one is the winter fall one. This one is the summer spring one. It's lighter, but both of them I adore, as you can tell, but I have plenty more in my backups. The Rephr moisturizers, everybody talks about their brushes, and yeah, clearly I love their brushes, but their moisturizers and their brush soap are 2 products that are on their website. Oh, and their eyelash curlers too, that are really great, that are, you know, beyond just the scope of the brushes. Let's see. When it comes to other moisturizers I love, well, I go through at least 2 of these a year, and they're expensive, but I wait until they have a 30 to 40% off sale. And that's the Pat McGrath Divine Skin Rose Essence. After you take a bath or before you're putting on makeup or whatever, this is so nice. It gives you like a nice healthy glow. Oh, it has a 12-month shelf life. Okay, this one might be towards the end, so we're going to use it a lot in the next few weeks. But luckily I have a few more in my backup drawer because I buy these when they're on sale because I love them so much. And then the other one is one I found on Amazon that everybody was talking about, and I had never heard of the brand. I know they make a bunch of other products. No, it is not Tier, although some of their products are not bad. It's this D'Alba First Spray Serum White Truffle Spray. I like to put this on before makeup. I like to use it as a setting spray sometimes. It's just a lovely product. It leaves your skin feeling so moisturized and ready for whatever you're going to put on it. So those are some moisturizing type products that I love. Now, when we get to primers, I have a wide variety from drugstore up to Chanel SUBLIMAGE, and neither of those are in my top, so that should tell you something. You can find some good, you know, mid-price luxury ones and even, you know, prestige brands ones. I would say if I had a favorite, it's probably the YSL Touche Eclat. There's a reason why this has been around forever. It is a lovely product. It feels luxe. It feels nice to use. It has kind of a weird smell, kind of like a glycerin smell, but it is a lovely product, and it's a favorite of mine. Some others that I love, if I'm using a stick foundation, like the Merit Stick or the Westman Atelier or the Tom Ford or New Dior, I love the Merit Great Skin, and I know that they came out with this in a cream form, but this works so well. And it's so funny because if I use Merit or Westman Atelier and I don't use this, they will drag. But with the Great Skin Instant Glow Serum, they don't drag and they just lay down so beautifully. Some others, let's see. Danessa Myricks has 3 or 4 different ones. This is the Moisture Repair Balm, but she has her regular balm. She has the Serum to Balm Powder one. She has just the Glow Serum. They're all lovely products. It just kind of depends on what your skin type is. Let's see. Rich Bitch from Freck is a great one. It has a very interesting consistency that looks like a bodily fluid, but it slides on really well and makeup goes on top of it with a beautiful effect. And that's what I look for when I look for primers. I want to have a glowy base so that no matter what I put on it, it just slides on and it's really easy to maneuver. And so those are some of my favorites. And then of course, I don't know that it's necessarily a primer, but it is a tint that is used as a primer. And of course, that is the Chantecaille. There's a reason why the Rose Face Glow tint is a favorite of everybody. There's also a reason why it's ridiculously expensive, although this will last you a while. They have another one that is similar, but it's got a bronze color. You know, it's kind of to replicate the sun. I like it. I prefer this one. But once in a great while, they will do, like they did a couple of weeks ago, where they did the 2 in a bundle for the price of 1. So this one and then the gold tint. So that's a lovely product. And then primers, what else? Okay, so eyeshadow primers. There's a few staples. I love the new Lisa Eldridge, and granted, this could be a single shadow, but the new Lisa Eldridge, what are they called? Liquid Silk liquid eyeshadows. They work as an eyeshadow, but then they also work really well as a primer. And they have 5 colors that are kind of toned to different skin tones. I'd like to get some more one day. She was kind enough to send this. One item that I repurchase at least 3 times a year, but I also wait for it to go on sale, is the Pat McGrath Intensify Wand. Now, I know that some people say if you have oily lids that these are not particularly great for that, and they recommend like a NYX glitter glue. But I really love these because it's quick, it's easy, you can throw it in your suitcase or whatever if you're traveling. And if you use a metallic eyeshadow or a sparkly eyeshadow, it just intensifies it so much and it causes less fallout. I have probably 10 of these. I go through it a ton. It's one of my most gone through products. And then sort of my standard, what I'll use every time I'm doing my eyeshadow, unless it's, you know, the Lisa Eldridge if I want a base with color. But if I just want a plain, no color, it's the Rare Beauty. I have others that I like, but the Rare Beauty is just so, it's not greasy, it's light, it goes on, it spreads really easy, it's a reasonable price, and it's something that I really like to put on before I do really any eyeshadow, unless of course I'm using like something like the Lisa Eldridge, which is pigmented. So when it comes to color correctors, I have color correctors from e.l.f. I've tried the Givenchy ones. I've tried a couple of different kinds of color correctors, and my favorite ones by far are the Cali Ray Hideaway color correctors. You can almost, if you blend these two on me, use it as a concealer. I have the shades Cool Sunrise sorry, and Dawn, and they are both lovely products that just cover really well. I'm going to try to show you here. They have kind of a serum consistency, but they work really well with most foundations that I put underneath them, and they just brighten, and then you can put your concealer on top of them, and they're a lovely product, and they're not terribly expensive. And they make your concealer, no matter what concealer you're using, look, 10 times better. So I love those. Now for concealers, I have a lot I like. I like the Natasha Denona one. I like Pat McGrath's. If I want something that's more full coverage or thick, I like the Kulfi and the RMS and the Tom Ford, the stick one. But my favorites would kind of go a spectrum from prestige all the way up to luxury and luxury plus. But It just so happens that the Luxury Plus in this case is a really good product. I'll start with the lowest price, but one that I think is really lovely, and that is the Tower 28 concealer. I think it's about $22 or something, but it has a really light consistency. I don't know if you can see this. It's not thick or runny, but it has a beautiful light texture, and it reminds me a lot of one of my other favorites, perhaps my favorite, at least it was until recently. Now it's probably in a tie, but it would be the Gucci. I think, you know, it has the most beautiful component, but not just that, it has a consistency that's very similar to that of the Tower 28. But the thing I like about the Gucci one so much is that it dries down into almost a powder-like consistency. It's really thin, but when it's dry down that I like so much. But you know, if you're looking for an affordable alternative to it, the Tower 28 is a great alternative. Now, a classic that, you know, I love, and you'll hear about its big sister, the foundation, earlier, of course, and that is the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Concealer. Like I said, I like Valentino, I like Natasha, Surratt. I mean, there's some that I really like, but for just kind of a warhorse that's going to just do really well for a long period of time and it's going to wear really well, I like the Giorgio Armani. I haven't tried the matte one because I'm not a matte foundation kind of person normally, but I really do enjoy this one, and there's a reason why it's such a big seller. Two that came out this year that are really spectacular. I mean, there is the Victoria Beckham one. I have mixed feelings on that. It's a nice product. Is it worth the price for how little product you're getting? That's where I'm conflicted. Like, it's a really nice product, and it has some great claims as to what it can do for you if you wear it continuously. But given this channel and all, I change it up. So I don't know that would be one that I would necessarily recommend, especially for the price. Two I definitely would be the Yummy Skin, God, it has a long name, the Lift and Flex Concealer for Face and Eyes by Danessa Myricks. You're going to hear her name on here quite a bit because she has some really beautiful products. This one has a gorgeous component, but the other thing that I really like about it is its texture, and I like its doe foot applicator. It has this kind of like little, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little point so it can get in really into those small areas, and the consistency of it is thin, but it is thicker than, say, the Tower 28 or the Gucci. And speaking of thicker, a slightly thicker concealer, but a gorgeous concealer, is the Westman Atelier one that just came out. This is the Westman Atelier Vital Skin Concealer. It perhaps wins the component race. It has this gorgeous component, and it is airtight, which I love. And then, I don't know if you can see, but it's about the same consistency as the Danessa Myricks one, but it has a little bit more coverage. But both of those are lovely products. And then if you really, really want to splurge, you know, a concealer, sometimes I think the super high-end stuff is kind of okay or not worth its hype. But the Sublimage from Chanel is a beautiful concealer. It is annoying as hell that it's in this little bottle, because although this little thing, because although it looks beautiful laying out or whatever, it is really difficult to get product in and out of. So what I do is I get some of those little testers from Chanel. Whenever I go in there, I'll get like 3 or 4 of them. And then I will, so that I'm not constantly reopening this at its very expensive price point, is I will take the little spoon that it comes with and put like 4 or 5 spoons of it in one of these, and then lock this shut, and then use this for my concealer. And it's a little bit easier this way, and that way I'm not opening this over and over and over and exposing it to oxygen for the price. So it is a beautiful product. It has kind of a whipped consistency. I'll show you in here. This one's almost empty, so I need to redo it again, but I can pull out some. It has a thick kind of whipped consistency that it has a little glow to it, and it lays so beautifully under the eye. It's one of those items that, you know, I don't say you have to purchase luxury just because it's luxury, but in that particular case, that is a really beautiful product, just in a shitty package. Now with foundations, you know, it's going to be, everybody has different skin types and what they like and what they don't like. I tend to have slightly dry, I'm not particularly oily, quite dry in my T-zone, and I tend to like a bit of a glowier foundation. So, but all of these are not glowy. I would say that I like natural up to glowy. I like things that look mostly realistic. So I have a variety of here that I really, really like. A new one that I just discovered, and it's not new at all, but it's something that I picked up on a recent trip because I wanted something that had a little bit more coverage, is the Dior Backstage. It has a really nice consistency. Strange applicator tube, but it's a beautiful consistency, and I would say that it's kind of, it's not too thick. It's kind of one of those Warhorse foundations that's going to look really beautiful on. Now it does have that Dior scent, so if you don't like that Dior scent, that may not be something you'd like, but unfortunately with most of these, they do have scents on them. And you know, that's true of others that I like that I didn't pull out, like Valentino, that has a scent. But one that doesn't really have a scent, but one that I really like that's kind of a medium priced one, is the Makeup Forever HD Skin. This is the new one, the glowy one that came out earlier this year. I don't know why, it's not particularly fancy, but it has a really nice consistency, kind of similar to the Dior one. You see it's running just a little bit, but it's not super wet, and it has a beautiful finish. It is a little bit thicker than the Dior one, but every time I wear it, because I like a glowy finish, that's one that I really like. And again, I say Warhorse because I can go to a concert or I can go to something and know that it's going to last through the night. Now, I shouldn't call some of these Warhorses because they are really beautiful, and I don't want that to be derogatory, but it's hard to beat the Prada Reveal Skin Optimizing Foundation. I have two colors that I kind of mix half and half because I have yet to find my perfect one. And when they first came out, it was so hard to get in the United States that it was kind of a blind buy. But now, of course, they have it at Sephora. The component is gorgeous, and it's really easy to replace. And I love the fact that the plastic is what goes, or the glass goes in the plastic. So when you drop it, like I do constantly, you're not busting foundation everywhere. It has a really beautiful consistency too. It does have a slight smell, but not as strong as some of the others. And it is also a little bit thicker. I would say this is kind of a medium coverage, but it can be very perfecting. It has a beautiful finish that's very perfecting. And really, I would say it's medium, but it can be built up beyond that. Some other favorites. Okay, I'm sorry to say this one because I don't know what the status is. And yes, I've tried Dior, and yes, I've tried Westman, and yes, I've tried Merit, and they're lovely. Nothing is as good as the Tom Ford Traceless Matte Stick. The Traceless Foundation Stick. I have two colors. One is kind of not right for me, but when I noticed that they were changing the packaging or whatever they're doing to it, I went ahead and got one of the other ones, and I'll use the darker one on the outside and the lighter one on the inside. I noticed that some places like Bergdorf still have it. It's as if it never went out, and then other places seem to have moved it out of stock, and I think that maybe they're redoing the packaging, probably to match a similar packaging to what is on the concealer. I'm hoping that they're not discontinuing it, because I'm not a huge stick foundation person, but this is perfection. A really light serum one that's kind of a classic is the Pat McGrath. There's a reason why it's such a good seller, and there's a reason why I really like it, and you'll see here, it is much wetter and looser than the others. It has a beautiful serum-like consistency, but it does last a good amount of time. I wore this last year when I went to Beyonce, and I was really worried that it wasn't gonna last too long, but I wanted something lighter because it was hot as hell. And it does a beautiful job perfecting, but it's still natural looking, and for me it lasted. I know some say that it doesn't necessarily, but it's a beautiful product that I still love. My sort of favorite, I guess, if I had to pick one that I know it may not be the most glamorous, but it works every single time and it's gonna look great. Luminous Silk by Giorgio Armani. There's a reason why this has been a bestseller for a long time. It is a lovely product. It is a little bit thicker. I would say it's somewhere in between the Prada and the Pat McGrath. It's a thick product, but it leaves a beautiful finish. I have not tried the matte one because, like I said, I'm not a huge matte person. This one is not particularly glowy. This one is what I would say is more of a natural with a slight glow. You know, that reminds me, earlier this year, there was footage, I guess in Europe, or not footage, but photographs of Armani coming out with like a high glow line of this. And it just never came here. I don't know what the story was with that. There was also a Armani cooling setting powder, and it never came here either. That would have been really nice for the summer. I guess that was a Europe thing. And then, like I said, if you're gonna do a splurge, the Chanel SUBLIMAGE, again, stupid packaging. I do the same thing where I depot it into one of the little ones. But let me grab that, a little one, so we can see. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about, because you grab it and then it rolls everywhere because it's not in a bottle. So this is kind of a pain in the ass, but it is a gorgeous product. I'm gonna grab just a little bit of it. It's a whipped foundation that has a beautiful consistency, and it is very light. It has that very obnoxious old lady smell that does dissipate after a few minutes, but it is strong. But it is a beautiful product. Again, it's just the packaging that is annoying, but the product itself is really beautiful. So yeah, those are some of my favorite foundations. I have a lot more I really like. Valentino, Syrah, you know, there's a lot out there. Even some drugstore ones, but those are ones that I know I can depend on when I go out. So if you follow beauty on YouTube, you know that this year has been the year of the skin tint. Actually, the last 2 years, it's been everywhere. And I don't have nearly as many skin tints as I do foundation, but I do have some that I really love. The Hourglass skin tint, the Veil, is a nice product. It has a good consistency, a good amount of coverage, but it's not my favorite. I have a favorite, or at least a top two. I have not tried the Lisa Eldridge one, and I'd really like to try that because it looks like a nice product. Then there's the Beige, which is the classic, the water one, and it has a beautiful finish too, and so many companies like Rose Inc. and drugstore companies have tried to duplicate it and have not been able to. Another one that I like, and I actually prefer the skin tint to the foundation stick, and that's the Westman Atelier Revitalizing Drops. I think that these are a nice product. I'll show you a comparison on them. They are very watery. and they give a nice amount of coverage. It's not a huge amount. It's probably more than what I think the Lisa Eldridge does, but it's a nice amount, and it provides kind of a healthy glow. The other one I love, but again, if you're looking for glow, this one's going to give you a lot of glow, and that is the RMS. I have mine in medium aura. This is a beautiful product that also has a sunscreen in it. But I wore this on a recent trip to New York, and it is beautiful. But you can see right there the amount of shine that it has on it. But it is a beautiful product. Sometimes if you're looking for less shine, what you can do is you can place another skin tint on top of it, because it does have that sunscreen in it, so it's important. But there's times where I didn't really mind it. You can powder it down a little bit, but it is a beautiful product. But if we're talking about skin tints and ones that I will go to every day, my everyday at work, on vacation, one that I know will never fail me is the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Tint. First of all, it's a reasonable price. I wear a cross between 4 and 5, 4 more this time of year, 5 in the summer. But it has a beautiful consistency and a decent amount of coverage, and I think it is by far my favorite skin tint. There is a reason why this is a bestseller, and it looks like your skin but perfected. And I think it's a beautiful product if you haven't tried it already, although something tells me most people have, because it is always a popular favorite at Sephora and of course on her website. So that's what we have today. We will look at other categories soon because my hands are raw. But again, it's just a way to show you some of the things that I really love. Please follow me on YouTube, Unsolicited EyeVice. Thumbs up, like, subscribe. I'm on Instagram, Unsolicited_EyeVice. And hopefully I'll see you again soon.